with Lord Claremont.
Hey, yo.
Who we like. Upon your approach, Lord Claremont sweeps into a deep bow of greeting.
Good evening, Lady Fremy. Are you looking forward to the summit?
You answer. In the affirmative, in the negative.
Oh god, there's too many choices. I don't know.
Positive! I'm going
In
for
positive.
positivity. Positivity. Because, oh god, why does it continue? The chance to meet all these new people. I hope to follow in Katsia's footsteps during these troubled times. It's an excellent chance to garner beneficial relationships.
Is he a particularly noble kind of guy?
He is, I believe, directly related to Katsia.
So maybe
yes.
we should want to follow in her footsteps.
I would say so.
Click.
You know enough history to know how bad things will get if the kingdoms fall off the precipice they now sit uneasily upon and once again resume all-out warfare. Never has diplomacy and careful negotiation between the kingdoms been more necessary. You may not prove to be the diplomatic heroine that Katsia was, but you wish to do your part in making sure peace isn't a distant memory. It's only after you have given your answer and followed up with your reasons due to his gentle prompting that you realize Lord Claremont has already gotten far more out of you than you originally intended. But his encouraging smile and the interested twinkle in his eye had you talking before you knew what you were doing. As if sensing your distress upon this realization, Lord Claremont smiles at you brightly.
He's a witch. He put a spell on us.
Witch! Witch! Burn him at the stake!
As for myself, I have to confess, I am not entirely looking forward to our time here. My father always said I had all the social grace of a grumpy cat.
The grumpy cat.
Meh.
Eh.
I always had too many opinions and was too impulsive for his liking. I'm not entirely sure I'll be able to get through the summit without causing more trouble than I intended. Although, admittedly, my anticipation is going up upon meeting you, Lady Fremy.
Before you can respond, the pair of you notice Princess Penelope trapped in a corner by an agitated Prince Jared. It's clear from her wide-eyed panic and bright color she's extremely uncomfortable with the conversation and the prince's pointed attentions.
Yo, I got my other jewels down here, princess.
Ugh.
What do you think, Lady Fremy? Shall we go rescue her?
What do you think? No. The worse my rivals do, the better for me. No, she will never be strong if she doesn't fight her own battles. Yes, wait while Claremont rescues her. Yes, rescue her herself.
We are a strong, independent woman, and I think as a pirate queen, we should rescue her ourselves.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Click. How do you intend to rescue her? Diffuse the situation by pulling the prince's attention to you. On second thought, you wait for Claremont to do the rescuing.
Well, it's gotta be the top one.
Yeah, obviously. Ugh, okay. You interject yourself smoothly into the small space the prince is holding Princess Penelope captive and smile brightly at him. Your Highness, I was just looking for you. I heard the most unusual thing, and I was hoping to get your opinion on it. You manage to distract the prince's attention, and he talks to you, letting a grateful Penelope stand in the corner, almost forgotten, until Prince Jared's sister calls him away. Once the prince is gone, the princess thanks you and hurries off to her brother's side. Your mission a success, you return to the side of Lord Claremont, who smiles at you with appreciation twinkling in his eyes.
You, Lady Fremy, are quite impressive.
I know.
I declare myself all admiration and a happy man indeed to have met you.
It's the copper hair. No one can just resist it. Also, our drawn-on eyes. You're
Rust
sorry.
on
I'm
eyes.
so
Rust on
sorry.
eyes.
I'm so sorry. What have I done? He takes your hand and bows over it gallantly. How do you respond? It's nothing. Blush. Ow. I didn't. I smacked my microphone. I was like, ow.
Ah, that worked perfectly with how how frazzled it would have gotten you.
Yeah. I didn't do it for approval. It was just the right thing to do. Thanks, smile winningly. Oh, I did it so I could collect a favor from her later. She's a good person. She deserves better than to be terrorized on her first night.
I kind of like that bottom one.
Alright, let's go with that then.
She's a nice person.
I like her a lot. She's my favorite girl.
Click. Indeed she does. Still, it is a rare person who both holds such admirable convictions and is also willing to act upon them.
Lord Claremont smiles at you in approval.
Social link up.
Woo!
It is a great pity.
Lord Claremont gives you a regretful smile as he even more regretfully releases his light grip on your hand.
But I fear duty and responsibility call me away from your side, at least for the moment. Until we speak again, and may the opportunity come quickly.
He bows again as you say your goodbyes. Despite all his protests and regret, his stride is swift and purposeful as he walks away from you, and he does not glance back in your direction even once. Oh!
I've got blue balls.
How sad. You don't have time for any conversations. Dinner is about to be served. Woo!
Oh, well, we only managed to get a few in.
Oh, so hungry. She's like starving. She's keeled over.
My rust-colored hair is so lustless. Lifeless.
Yeah. Lustless, I guess, works too.
I am lusty.
For your hair. For dinner, you are seated between the Dowager Countess, who spends most of dinner pretending to be much more deaf and dumb than you suspect she is, and one of the warrior ladies of Skalt, who spends her time stabbing her dinner with her knife, like she's afraid it is not quite dead yet and wants to put it out of its misery.
I like her, though.
Who?
Isn't it, what's-her-face, the Princess Anna?
Oh, no, that wasn't who we were seated next to. It was one of the ghost people.
Oh, then I don't care.
Yeah, stupid ghost people.
Puh.
If that were not enough, Lord Blaine is seated directly across from you and spends dinner glaring at you with such a sour intensity, you have trouble enjoying your quite excellent food. Rude. But you're...
Douche.
Yeah, I don't like him at all. He can suck a lemon. Oh, but your hard work making an impression earlier has not been forgotten. Even at your distant end of the table, you receive attention from other delegates. After receiving a particularly nasty glare from Lord Blaine, Princess Penelope, seated nearby, sends you a sympathetic look. Princess Anale catches your eye during the soup course and grins approvingly. When this further outrages Lord Blaine, she throws a piece of bread at his head. Let's just say she has impressive aim.
I'm imagining her looking up from her soup, smiling, and then the soup just dribbling out of her mouth. She's so cute.
Oh, she's adorable. I like her. You catch Haemon of Heiss watching you. When you look up and your eyes meet, he sends you a saucy wink, pulls a coin from behind his ear, and hands it to a servant with a whisper. For the rest of the meal, you find your wine glass filled to the brim at every opportunity. After successfully driving the ladies of Arlen seated near him to blushing incoherence, Prince Zerad looks around, bored. Spotting you, he lifts his glass in salute, gifting you with an intense smolder that has a touch more sincerity than the ones that he's been giving to his seat partners. Tugging on the collar of his shirt and looking distinctly uncomfortable, Duke Lion catches your eye and the pair of you share a moment of mutual sympathy. It happens so quickly you almost miss it, but between the fish course and the salad course, Lord Claremont catches you looking glum and sneaks a grin at you. You find yourself smiling before you realize it, but when you look again, his face is perfectly solemn as he listens to Princess Jaslyn talk. Princess Cordelia winces in sympathy after your seat partner from Skalt expresses her appreciation for the food by burping, loudly, directly in your ear. Lady Avale takes a break from charming the men around her, witless to give you an appreciative smile as you deftly turn a boorish insult from Lord Blaine into a compliment to yourself. But even with this attention, you find dinner a tiring affair, so when it is finished and all of the delegates are summarily dismissed to their rooms, you find it a bit of a relief. It has been a tiring day, so after Sarah and Rhea have helped you undress and wash, you sink into bed and wait for sleep. When it does not immediately come, you notice that next to your bed is a book on the history of the summit has been placed. Do you want to read it? Yes or no?
We do like history.
We do indeed, and I definitely want to read this.
Yes.
Yes. 100 years ago, the Seven Kingdoms were on the verge of destruction. Centuries of constant warfare, bitter feuds, horrifying tragedies, and endless misunderstandings had taken their toll. With no end in sight, it seemed there was no way off the path of mutual destruction. In the era of conflict, it seemed things like social niceties and diplomacy had no place and even less value. that the greatest legacy of the kingdoms was doomed to be nothing more than blood, death, and aching loss. That is, until the 16th birthday of one very determined princess. Princess Katia of Riviere had already lost 3 brothers to the ceaseless fighting. She was determined that she, and others like her, those not allowed to fight, would lose no more. Katia was clever as well as brave, charming as well as calculating, and most of all she was very inventive and very determined.
She's hot.
Yeah. She invited important young people from all of the kingdoms to celebrate her birthday, but, thinking it a trap, no one would agree to come. So Katia learned of a small mysterious island in the middle of the sea connecting the kingdoms. She went to this island, known only as Vale Isle, and she had a grand castle built. Again, she sent out invitations, this time promising neutral ground. Again, her invitations were refused, this time citing the danger of assassins and trained guards. So Katia sent back her own people and trained the mysterious island natives in the ways of service. Then she sent out the invitations once more, this time banning the attendance of guards, servants, or attendants. No one was to come, she insisted, save for the young nobles and royals themselves. By this time, the young people in question had grown mighty curious what sort of person would go to so much trouble simply to celebrate a birthday long since past. Furthermore, if they went, they could find the answers to many of their pressing questions. Was it true, they wondered, that the female warriors of Skald drank only the blood of their male victims? Was it true that the pirates of Heis made sails out of skulls and bones? Did the Emperor of Corval truly have a horse of 1,000 wives? A house of 1,000 wives. I read horse and I was confused.
Amazing if it was a horse made of 1,000 wives. How big would that horse be? We love talking about horses.
Yeah, this is the horse day. Today is horse day. This time they accepted. Not all, of course, but enough. 7 from every kingdom. What a crazy random happenstance. When they arrived at the Isle, they found themselves well greeted and feasted. There were parties and plays, dances and friendly duels. And all along there was Princess Katia, convincing them to stay just a little longer, to forget just a little more that their nations were at war and hated one another. It turned out that the Skald princess, when asked about drinking blood, could only laugh at the ridiculous thought, and seeing her laugh, no one could find her quite so scary or so strange. The Corval prince, upon being asked how many wives he had, proclaimed, "Why, none!" and then happily opened the position to any pretty applicants. The pirates of Heis were baffled to think how anyone thought a ship made of bone could sail, and offered to take everyone for a ride on their ship. Weeks passed, and the young people began to realize that none of the others were so very strange, or so very different. They might, under different circumstances, be friends, or more than friends. In particular, it is said that they were all, male and female alike, more than a little in love with Princess Katia. As time went on, the kingdoms became more and more impatient for the return of their children. They sent ships and warriors bent to retrieve them at all cost. But even the best ships and the best sailors couldn't find the Isle. They all returned empty-handed, filled with stories of heavy mists and vain searches. They sent angry letters to their children, demanding they return, but by now, Katia had convinced them they were not so different, that they did not have to fight, and most importantly, that they were not powerless in face of endless conflict. So the young people sent letters of their own, refusing to return home. This enraged their families, who sent threatening letters to Katia. Katia sent thoughtful letters back, saying that she would allow a single representative, an ambassador from each country to visit the Isle, authorized to negotiate on behalf of their country. The ambassadors arrived, thinking to be facing kidnapping and extortion. Instead, they were greeted by a grand ball, and the charges were set to rescue, all happy, well, and getting along. This surprised them no little amount, but nowhere near as much as what happened next. In what later became known as the First Summit, the ambassadors and the young nobles and royals sat down and negotiated for a solid week. They hammered out peace treaties, trade agreements, and marriage alliances. When they were finished, 7 weeks had passed, 7 couples were married, and the 7 kingdoms were finally at peace. It was not an easy transition, and there were so many fears that no number of marriages or treaties could change anything for long, so Katya proposed a plan. She would stay on the Isle waiting, and every 7 years, the 7 kingdoms would send 7 young delegates for 7 weeks to arrange 7 more weddings. This way, she argued, understandings between the nations could continue to grow, alliances would be strengthened, negotiations resumed. They might not all trust each other, but by the end, they all trusted Katya, no longer a princess, having forsaken the title, family, and country, so she could be a neutral voice. You blink, trying to force your tired eyes to read further, but finally they gave up. You just gained a little knowledge of history and politics.
Yeah!
Woo!
I need to check how much we got. This is really important to me. We got +5 in politics, +5 in history.
Well, I can't find it. What am I doing?
Just trust me on this.
Your calendar, relationships, and information. There, this I'm showing the people watching this. Look at how amazing it is. I trust you so much.